This is the Illimitable Experience Podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience Podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. With that, today we have as our guest Jinav Satra. Hi Jinav, how are you?
Hi Manan, I'm good. How has life been with you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Thank you. So, Gino, it is only in 2020, somewhere around June or July, we contacted each other. And it was for the reason that it was a time when you went all out with LegaLogy. And I wanted to publish my article. And that is how we got in touch. So, my first question would be to you is, Gina, before even we start, I would like you to introduce yourself and what you do because you have a lot of things that I've seen. And yes, please introduce yourself.
Uh, so like what you said was right. We got a chance to work on that article which you were supposed to publish. But
Yeah.
anyway, coming back, so I'm a lawyer by profession. I don't practice law, but I believe that that degree and the knowledge which I've gained in law school has helped me uh, at various levels. So after my LLB, I did my MBA, specifically in real estate management from NMIMS. And after completing the MBA, I've been placed at Runwal Group. And since then, I've been working there. I handle land acquisition and strategy there. So yeah, real estate has been my forte since a while, and my legal background comes into play because it's an industry which is highly regulated. So of course, that's been there.
Wow. So first and foremost, the first question I would like to ask you about this is that you started with LegaLogy. What was the
Right.
reason behind starting LegaLogy?
Uh, so the like how LegaLogy happened was it's a funny story actually. So it was peak COVID time, right? And I was in
Hmm.
my second year of MBA,
Acha.
and so colleges were online, and I had a lot of time to spare apparently, which would not have been the case if the college was offline.
Right.
But since the colleges were operating online, I had a lot of time to kill, and just me being me, I always had this knack for blogging. So apparently, LegaLogy is not the first blog which I've started. And before this, there was a small blog called as TechRec. This is way back in 2015, 2016. So during my BCom days. So at that time also, I approached a co-founder and, we started this thing called as techrec.org. And it was a small tech related website wherein we used to post articles about new and upcoming technologies. So yeah, so that that kida of blogging was always with me, and LegaLogy was just just a passion project because I was seeing someone actually back then, and both of us wanted to do something about law related specifically. So we started this blog together, and that's how it's been. Uh, so yeah, that's the story. Like it was blogging plus free time, and
And combine
something,
it.
and
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
something to put it out in the world that like we are also here.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of students that I've seen that from our college benefited from it because everyone has not everyone. I would say a lot of students published their articles on on your blog as well. I had seen one with Sachi. I had seen the one with Avni and my blog. So yeah, it had become quite relevant during that point in time. So
Yeah, so like rightly you said, so for I was also a starter to this. Like I was very new to legal blogging as such. So the best source for me were my friends and my colleagues from college. So that's how
correct.
I started, just like similar to how you started. Your
Hmm.
first two episodes were your JCCL guys, like colleagues only. So
Right.
that's how you grow. That's how like slowly, steadily, friends of friends, and that's how I started, getting people on board. We hired a small team. Of course, we're not paying them.
Mm.
but it was purely just like a startup wherein small and slowly wanted to grow, and slowly steadily started monetizing it also. So we started running Google ads on the blog, and once there was enough money, we wanted to grow it to another level. But then, of course, back to normal scenes wherein everything got back on track, and this like typically I also couldn't contribute much more time towards it. And one thing which I understood it that this is a full-time job. You cannot pursue blogging part-time. So yeah, I mean, you need to be updated to whatever is happening in your particular field of blogging. So for me, it was law.
Mm.
Even if you're blogging anywhere else, it's a full-time job.
Right. Right. So, now coming to the process of LegaLogy. So, I'll give you my perspective that I've seen. It became an important part where it became it was integrated into the full time career of their lives. So, when it comes to LegaLogy, what skills did you had to learn or inculcate in yourself or within the team to make it what to make LegaLogy what it is right now?
So, like, to be honest, I've been a tech geek since a very long time. Like, ever since I was a kid, I was always into new technologies, and we've had computers and internet at our house since 2001. So that was one privilege which I was, given. Like, I thank my parents for that, because internet is something which is, it limits, like as your podcast says, right? Illimitable experience. It's
Yeah.
a whole like entire world out there. You can do whatever you want. Like literally, you can. As of today, you are, you know, downloading food from Swiggy. That's just a way to put it. Ordering food is like as simple as downloading food, right? So I was privileged enough to, get access to internet at a very young age, and slowly steadily that tech geek in me always used to explore around. And as I said that I had already launched a website before, so TechRec was here. So I think I have this thing with me here. It
Oh,
was
oh, okay.
uh,
Wow.
you already run a small website before. But just to answer your question briefly, uh, of course, as a to like to make a website out of in a very short span of time. LegaLogy was, I think, we registered the domain in first week of June, and I believe by mid June the website was ready. So in a span of 15 days, I was coding for almost 6 to 8 hours a day. Uh, of course, that there would be breaks in between, but like on an average 6 to 8 hours a day. uh, it's based on WordPress. So WordPress is a platform which allows you to build on existing code. So you don't have to code from scratch. That is something which I don't know, but I can understand, read code, and I understand if I change this, this is going to happen, right? And plus, WordPress also allows you to, put in existing themes. So you can edit those themes also. So LegaLogy is actually based out of WordPress. WordPress is the content management platform.
Mm-hmm.
So that's major blogs which you see today on the internet are based on either WordPress, or there are other options also today. But WordPress is the most common and frequently used. And in terms of coding, so I've never learned coding officially. It's just reading articles from here and there, trying new things out. And yeah, that's how it's been. Like you change one code, you check the website how it's affected, and yeah,
It's full of trial and error.
it's fully trial and error. Absolutely. Like it's you cannot like, at least I have not been able to code from scratch. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that. But you can work your way around if you like. These are just life hacks.
Right. I mean, I at a personal level also relate to it because it was only in the lockdown when. So I'll give you a little bit of background about this podcast. Okay, so in lockdown started, obviously a lot of time, and I came across the first time on the YouTube. I came across this podcast like Joe Rogan podcast. Okay, And I watched a few episodes, and I was like, okay, I was fascinated with the fact that these are uh, long term conversations that are being held here. So there is no amount of misunderstanding between the host and the guest. What I'm saying can be used as a, can be taken out of context, right? So when people that is the main reason that I got fascinated कि लोग out of context नहीं ले सकते. Obviously लेने वाले लेंगे कि 10 सेकंड का clip निकाल दिया and people will be like अच्छा ये guest ने ये बोल दिया. But if you listen to the entire podcast clearly and you have that focus, the people cannot take it out of context. So I was fascinated कि अच्छा there is a discussion going on rather than an argument or something like why is left wing better than right wing or something like that. So that really got me into it. Now I had no idea about how to start it or how to do it, YouTube पे कैसे जाने का ये वो etc etc. It is only that I've been studying YouTube for since that time कि अच्छा people are doing this, how are people growing, how much, what is an average duration for a channel to cross 1000 subscribers, yeah, to monetize and etc etc, how to make better thumbnails. So it has been fully from YouTube, and it has been trial and error. I mean, if you have noticed, we have changed the thumbnail twice. We started with something else, we did something, we are with something else right now, and we are also in the process of making another thumbnail which is like better than this one. So even in the this past 9 months, I've been constantly digging enough कि अच्छा कुछ ऐसा करते हैं which really sets the mark, and it gets going for the longer term. So at a personal level I completely relate to it with that कि सब कुछ trial and error से ही सीखा है, ना बुक से सीखा है ना कोई सिखाया है, सब देख के पढ़ के उसी सब से सब हो रहा है.
Exactly. There is no right path to it, right? कि भाई ये करोगे तो ये चलेगा. It's
Right.
always you have to try something. See, all these stories which we hear about, right? They are not overnight successes. Like as you said, even on YouTube, the first 1,000 subscribers, I don't know how much time that's going to take for you. But once you're there, right, the next 1,000 are going to be much quicker than that, right?
Right.
And it's an exponential growth. And content consumers can be great content creators. Like if you are not going to watch something, you don't know what you're going to like, and you don't know if you want to create that for your audience, right? So if you like something, you would want to create something like that. So I'm sure you've heard about MKBHD, right? Marcus Brownlee. He's one of the biggest tech YouTubers out there.
Mhm.
So he has this famous dialogue that I make videos which I would want to see. It's as simple as that. So if you don't like what you're watching, you don't create such videos, right? So I mean,
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So, Gina, now that you are like obviously know a little bit about coding and user interface and etc. तो ये सब skills कितने important हो जाते हैं for a lawyer to know in a way that it integrates in their legal field as well. कि ऐसा नहीं है कि lawyer है तो coding सीखना जरूरी नहीं है या XYZ सीखना जरूरी नहीं है. How important does these skills become?
so like uh, again, so I've been a believer of this thing that education can only take you until a certain extent, right? If you want to grow in life, you cannot just do just get one degree and sit up on it. You have to acquire skill sets over a period of time. And great part about our Indian education system is, I'm sure you also experienced it, none of these skills which we acquire are practical enough. Like you are studying, say for example, in your third year, you are studying CPC and CRPC in your SEM 5, but you go out and intern with a criminal lawyer, you don't know what is a wakalatnama, like, because they've not mentioned it even once in their entire course, right? So that's the worst part about our system. Of course, that's let's not go there. It's a
Yeah.
completely different topic. But like I believe you have to acquire skills. Now again, it will depend on what you want to do in your life. So since I was into blogging since a very long time, acquiring coding skills and user interface was something which was slowly developed over a period of time. Again, trial and error works the best. but it is important to understand what you want to do. So for example, if you, as a lawyer, if you want to get into content creation, which is a very, very small niche today, and it is not, it's not been, filled with influencers. If you speak about fashion today, you have multiple fashion influencers, travel, lifestyle, tech. There are multiple fashion, like you have multiple people who have already, had their market share. Find a specific niche. So in law, I don't think so anybody other than Phenology Legal today is at that place wherein, they can say that, they have the maximum market share. It's a wonderful channel. It's run by Priya, and I've got a chance to speak to her once, fortunately. And she's a really great person. And the way their team works is also amazing. And their channel has grown exponentially. I think they have around 2.5 million subscribers today, or I'm not sure exactly, but they have a huge subscriber base. And they literally break down each and every video which they delve into. So uh, exactly, coming back to your question. So skills, I mean, again, it depends on what you want to do. So as a lawyer, if you want to get into so I personally believe that it should not be like, if because I have done LLB, I want to pursue law as a mainstream lawyer, right? Because education needs to gain your knowledge. It should not be something like, okay, because of this, I am surviving. It should not be like that. It should just be a means of increasing your knowledge. Of course, today, when we see all these founders, of these new age startups, they are either IIT, IIMs. But why don't we see lawyers who are, getting into, entrepreneurship? There was this, I think, an episode on Shark Tank wherein one product about the fitness rewards was going on, and that guy was a chartered accountant. And what he rightly said was, in the end, that IIT, IIMs का जमाना गया है, अब CA, MBA का जमाना है.
CA वाला का जमाना है, right.
So it totally depends upon what you want to do after your education ends. So when we say lawyer, our brain thinks about a guy who's wearing a coat, like
black and white coat and coat.
black and white coat. He's standing outside court, and he's waiting for his client to come and appear before the judge. Or on the other hand, you are maybe somebody who's drafting. If he's into commercial law, he's drafting agreements. He's if he's a solicitor, he's probably negotiating with another solicitor. So that's how our mainstream law, our brain is, conditioned enough to think about that lawyers are these guys. But as I told, right, Priya, Phenology Legal, doing extremely well. So again, it depends on what you want to do after your law. So fortunately for me, I always wanted to do an MBA, and real estate was something which I chose because of my family background into it. And majorly, it is an industry which is highly regulated. So for me, it was like getting a law degree was more than it was highly essential, because to understand the existing regulations and the upcoming regulations, you need to develop a skill set wherein you will be able to understand what's being proposed by the authorities. So of course, I mean, law for me has helped me to take that whatever regulation is there, understand it, and then act accordingly and advise to the place where I'm working right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to the real estate part later. But ये वाला जो thing है, right, कि where lawyers are seen to be wearing black and white coats and they are seen in court only. तो यार ये तो वो internship में मैंने काफी देखा था कि people have this thing कि these are the limited few things that a lawyer can do, and the ancillary skill associated with lawyer is कि वो library में पूरा पूरा दिन पढ़ते रहते हैं, ये laws पढ़ने हैं, ये करना है. But I mean, so I mean, you made me realize that कि अच्छा ऐसा what I'm doing is like similar to a startup only, but it's not huge, इतना money involved नहीं है, but it's a startup where you have to struggle and two people have to break the code of moving ahead. And I personally did not have that perspective of this कि अच्छा what I'm doing is like a very niche thing where a lawyer is being a content creator of a podcast, and he has been regularly calling guest and ये सब वाला. So that is something that people like really need to, I mean, break out of that barrier कि
Even,
अच्छा अभी
like,
जब भी
even
लॉ
for
कर
you,
लेते हैं.
no, even for you, sorry to interrupt, but so I'm sure you must have participated or at least seen moot courts, right, during law school.
हम्म.
So that helps you to, talk to in front of people, right? That
हम्म.
skill is what you developed in your law school. And that is
Right.
exactly what you are doing right now with the TIE podcast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. So your education is going to help you only till a certain extent, but it's you who has to finally decide कि भाई मेरे को मैंने इतना पढ़ लिया है, इतना सीख लिया है, अब इसमें से मुझे क्या करना है और उसके बाद उसके लिए मुझे क्या चाहिए. So that is something which you always have to, develop on your own and find something, like find a niche. Now for you, your podcast is Illimitable Experience. So you probably not like you're not focusing on a niche, you're focusing on a general like whichever profession it is, like,
Right.
but that's actually in itself is a niche that we're not focusing on a niche, we're focusing
Hmm.
totally on like we are
Right.
open
Right.
to everything.
Right. I was coming to that only. So again, when I started the podcast, so initially, obviously, the first 3 to 4 guests were lawyers only. Okay, and while I was already recording episode with them, I was also in talks with other people of calling them in the next month or next to next month. So I had to face this question regularly कि यार मतलब अभी तक तो तू लॉयर को ही बुलाया है तो हम आके क्या बात करें. ओके, तो इट केम ऑफ इन अ वे कि मैं सिर्फ लॉयर्स को बुलाने वाला हूँ. एंड सो आई हैड टू लाइक मेक दिस क्लियर कि सी दैट इज नॉट द क्वेश्चन. मैंने लॉयर्स को पहले बुलाया है इतना बिकॉज आई एम अ लॉयर, तो मेरे मेजोरिटी कॉन्टेक्ट लॉयर ही होंगे. दैट इज लाइक अ
Fair,
कॉमन सेंस थिंग.
fair
तब
enough.
लाइक ठीक है. सो एंड अनदर थिंग इज कि मैंने नाम इसलिए लिमिटेबल चूज किया है कि आई जस्ट डोंट वांट टू स्टिक टू दिस नीश. And even before pursuing law, I was pursuing CA, and one thing I had seen in CA is कि उन लोग काफी it's like a, I would say,
Yeah,
ग्रुप
tax and
ग्रुप
audit, tax and
ग्रुप
audit.
हाँ, ग्रुप में घूमने वाले लोग हैं कि सीए के साथ घूमेगा, सीए के साथ खाना खाएगा, सीए के साथ बात करेगा, सीए के साथ क्रिकेट खेलेगा.
अरे
ओके, देयर
शादी
इज
भी कर.
नथिंग. हाँ, सीए के साथ शादी भी करेगा. सो लेकिन यार कि मनन, अभी मैं लॉयर हूँ बट मेरे को ऐसा बनना नहीं है कि मैं लॉयर हूँ तो मैं सिर्फ लॉयर के लोगों के साथ घूमू फिरूं नाचू गाऊं. राइट. मुझे आई हैव टू बी लाइक क्वाइट फुल कंप्लीट डेवलपमेंट चाहिए अपने को. ये एक नीच में रह के ऑब्वियसली मे बी जल्दी क्रैक हो जाता, बट वो मेरे को करना नहीं था. So then it's like now we'll be calling people from like everyone, everything, जितने भी contacts, जितने भी connections, they will call them. We'll try from different fields. ऐसा नहीं कि we'll stick to only the so-called people who are like highly educated. This is something that I was facing कि अच्छा ये lawyer है तो lawyer को ही बुलाने वाला है, वैसा impression हो गया था. But then जैसे जैसे the variety of guests that I started to bring, then it sent off image कि अच्छा इसको ब्रांड ऐसा थोड़ा बन गया कि इसको सिर्फ lawyers नहीं बुलाने हैं, इसको he wants to talk to all the types of people, and that people can see in the previous episodes as well. I have had the privilege to talk to yoga practitioners है, cabin crew है, CA है, lawyer है, वो तो already है, people who are into entrepreneurship, people who are experts in insurance, etc. So वो सब अलग अलग fields में I've been calling, and I want to continue that only. Yeah. So, Gina, my next question is कि apart from these, what are the skills, unconventional skills that people are not realizing are important but are important so for example, in your case, it is web designing, right?
Right.
It is something not all the lawyers want to get into. Okay, but it's like useful to or beneficial to have some awareness about coding. पूरा तो coding अभी obviously सीख नहीं सकते, 5-6 साल कोई पढ़ता है तो और उनको पढ़ना नहीं है. That makes sense.
Of course, of course.
So other skills like that are not seen as important but have becoming important or will become important in the coming future.
So I mean, okay. So what I've heard, like the buzzword around is probably your AI and ML, right?
Mm.
So, as a lawyer, okay, if you are able to crack like if you are able to get into data science, right, today, it's a huge industry out there, because every industry you take, you take any industry, right, they want to analyze their data. It could be anything from customer purchase orders. It could be negotiating prices with their suppliers. Any kind of data, they want to firstly accumulate it and then analyze it so that they are able to maximize their profits. So, if as a lawyer today somebody able to acquire that skill of data science, there are softwares out there. There's Python, there's R. If you are able to understand it, it requires pure technical coding. If you are able to get into that, and as a lawyer, right, you've been, as we mentioned before, you've been conditioned to a certain extent. If you are able to break that barrier and go out there. See, because law school teaches you a lot of things, which adds up to you in your life overall experience, right? Today you are also sitting there because you've gone through that law school ka 3 years ka experience. That keeps like that changes you in some or the other way, of course, but there it has some value addition to you in your life. If over and above that you are able to break that barrier and acquire some additional skill sets, that is always going to help you. So for me, at least, data science today is something which is going to go all out in the next 20 years. So as of today, if you're able to crack that, learn R, learn Python, it's a huge market out there today. Upgrad is offering courses for data science. NMIMS has an MBA, full-fledged 2-year MBA in data science. It's very surprising. But they see all these academicians, they know what the industry wants, right? So it is their job to like make courses for the next few years or next generation.
Makes
So,
sense.
I mean, as a lawyer, if you're able to kill it, so your law degree is always going to stand valid. And over and above that, if you have these, set of skills, you're going to be the market leader. Like if you want to, like if you're going to enter the job markets, the fact that you know R and Python is enough to get you that job. But the fact that you're a lawyer is always going to add up to your CV, and it's always going to differentiate you from the other candidate.
It's a wow factor that will set it.
It's a wow factor. Like when I was in my MBA, I was the only lawyer. I had a pool of architects and engineers. Right. So interacting with me was very different than interacting with a architect or an engineer. So that's always going to be there. Like it's always, it could be for any profession, not for law, just in general. It could be as a CA also, as a again, depends on where you're choosing. Because today AI/ML is purely surrounded by engineers. Like there is no other, because typically that's their job, and that's what been at least their courses have tried to accommodate something or the other with respect to data science. So of course, if you go for a data science course today, as a lawyer, you are always going to be out of the blue. Like people are going to ask you why, or what are you doing here?
Right.
So that's it. Other than data science, I believe, like we spoke about content creation, right? Content is a huge, like it's a huge industry today. And the best part about content creation is, at least in the legal field, is that the pressure of creating content is never on you, right? So at LegaLogy also, the best part about the entire website was like the pressure of creating content was never on me. So whatever used to happen in the industry, I was just reporting it. If you see, on the other hand, if you compare a legal blog with, say, for example, a comic YouTube, even a comic stand-up comedian, okay, to come out with new jokes, that pressure of creating content is on the comedian. He simply cannot copy it from somewhere else.
Right.
So in the content creation industry, for a lawyer, that again, it typically like this pressure of creating content can shift on you also, if you are purely writing original articles, your interpretations. But there will be some days. So for example, if you're analyzing a judgment, there has to be a judgment for it before. like I don't know if you're if I'm making sense, but
No,
uh,
I understand that because so I'll tell you something that I have done, but I haven't spoken about it because midway may I left it. So in the last month, if I'm not wrong, yeah, in the last month only, I started. So you know about this page Finance with Sharan?
yeah, of course, Sharan
Yeah,
Engineer.
so fantastic guy, and uska I've seen the growth. Uske reels काफी अच्छे. So inspired from that guy, I wanted to do something similar in legal niche, ठीक है? And
Right.
I made an account also. I uploaded 3 to 4 reels also on it. And ठीक है 2-3 दिन में like 58 followers बढ़ गए ठीक है like literally because of reels only no post and those reels were also like quite very basic के who I am and you know what why should people follow me ऐसा सब बनाया था तो इतना बेसिक किया था and इतने आ गए now the thing is कि obviously to get the constant inspiration of content I had to follow the pages कि अच्छा इसने ऐसा दिया है या ये relevant है so as such there wasn't pressure on me to like continuously create something because content to tha. Now here is where I stopped. Okay, now I am not good at video editing. Okay, and I tried
Correct.
doing video editing. It's not my cup of tea that I can do it every day. We see I can do it occasionally, but everyday wala cup of tea mera wo nahi hai. So that is why I had to stop now. But as and when I get that I have I have figured something out on how to deal with it. Probably I'll again start posting content on it. And अभी भी वो profile है अभी पड़ा है. It's just मैंने private कर दिया है. So nobody sees it. But as soon as I'm fine with it, again I'll open and start posting. And I want to do that in that field only. Because finance with Sharan showed that कि ठीक है finance तो यार जानते हैं सब CA वाले जानते हैं. But उसने जो वो कॉस्प्ले करके जो सब चीजें समझाई है ना दैट इज वेयर पीपल आर गेटिंग अट्रैक्टेड कि अच्छा ये कुछ बंदा सेंसिबल बोल रहा है
Correct.
दैट हैज
Of
बीन
course,
हिज
you're
एज
playing different characters, and like if you see right from Bhuvan Bam, who used to play multiple characters in his videos, like that's really caught up with the comic mainstream content creation. Like you don't want to see one single face talking all the time. You want to see multiple characters, and
character right
it's add that a small comic factor to it, and just make a 30-second or a 1-minute reel out of it, and boom, here you have 1,000 followers in one day.
right yes
But I personally am against the short form content. I don't know if you would agree to this or not, but uh, like no doubt they've proved their power of reels. But all these like TikToks, it started from TikTok. I think it started from way back in Dub Smash was there in 2016, 2015. They've just evolved the type of content which has come up. But so I believe that you get addicted to such short form content. Your attention span reduces considerably, because since the fact you're addicted to 30-second videos, you want to consume content after every 30 seconds. So that reduces your attention span uh, like by a very large extent, right? And uh, the worst part about is it, like even in real life, right? If I'm speaking to you right now, and if you're somebody who is addicted to reels, you will not be able to concentrate and focus on what I'm saying for a very long period of time.
correct
There are cons to it, of
to
course.
it
Instagram won't be talking about it, otherwise they'll
उनका
not.
मार्केट या so yeah
And
ये चीज में
uh,
I wanted to add कि so I'll have a fair argument about this. So I have studied TikTok also, okay, in the past three months. Because in the month of December, one of the guests I had come who has a marketing agency in Dubai, which only has takes care of TikTok. किसी को TikTok पे जाना है तो they help them create their brand on TikTok. So मैं वो टेस्ट के बाद आया and I studied that a little bit. So TikTok is like it's as quick as lightning. Instagram के reels तो भी it takes a little bit of time कि तुम लोग के followers set हो algorithm पे, but TikTok is lightning. And here is the thing that is happening. So पहले TikTok का duration था 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute was the max duration you can upload a video. But now what is happening is कि let's take this is TikTok in terms of duration, and this is YouTube. So YouTube ने अपना शॉर्ट्स लाके यहाँ पे आ गया, and TikTok 10 मिनट, now they have a maximum limit of 10 minutes. TikTok,
Okay.
तो उनका वो they are coming here. So at some point of time, see, a short form of content creation is only like, it's I don't think it's going to die, but सबको realize होगा कि यार short term content से हम कुछ बना नहीं सकते, वो
It's
attraction के लिए
actually this short form of content has actually been there since a while. Okay, like if you consider movies, trailers have been in the picture since a very long time.
right.
So of course, if you want to introduce a longer video with a shorter video, that makes sense. But the way Instagram and TikTok have, like, at least historically how they've operated is purely short form of content. So my perspective is from that side ke, boss, full short form content cannot work. You cannot explain somebody about something in less than 30 seconds.
30 seconds, right.
It's you are killing that attention span of your user.
Right. And again, वो YouTube is like gone bonkers with its short form की जो videos को usually like समझ ले 1000 2000 views मिलते हैं, वो shorts को they push it to 8000 to 12000. So there's a very huge gap, and people are like, okay, it's attractive, so let's subscribe. So that's something that even I am not comfortable with. I feel the same problem with the podcast also. Initial लोगों ने बोला यार 1 hour 30 minutes, it's too much, nobody is going to consume it. ठीक है, no problem, don't let people नहीं करना है तो नहीं कर रहा है, because I don't want to be, I consider myself irresponsible अगर मैं सिर्फ ऐसा short form में डाल दूं, मैं reduce करूं just because लोगों का attention span कम है. Like if you have come, right, हम लोग ने start किया था LegaLogy and website designing से, right now we are talking about content creation and short form of video creation. Now अगर मैं if I stick to this very adamantly कि नहीं मेरे को 45 minutes में wrap up करना है, तो भाई तू it's like not justifying you being here also now. तू इतना time दिया रहा है, तू इतना time दे रहा है, and it's like नहीं भाई 45 minutes is 45 minutes, I'm not going to do beyond that. Why? Because attention span कम हो गया है लोगों का. अरे ये थोड़ी argument है कि attention span कम हो गया, एंड आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट लेने के भी काफी चांसेस हो जाते हैं वो चीज में. जीनव ने कोई ऐसी बात बोल दी जो ऐसा बोल दिया वैसा बोल दिया, बट अरे भाई उसके पहले का सुनो, उसके बाद का सुनो, फिर कुछ जजमेंट निकालो कि तुमको कैसा लग रहा है. ये ऐसा 2-3 बार हुआ. सो आई हैड पोस्टेड फ्यू रील्स. ओके, यू हैव सीन कि मैं 2 रील्स डालता हूँ आफ्टर एवरी एपिसोड.
Correct.
2-3 बार ऐसा हुआ है, somebody has DM'd me trying to explain me कि why what he's saying is wrong. I'm like, see, first of all, this is 30 second 1 minute ka reel. Okay, if you want to know the full context, you can go to the episode, skip to that part where he's talking about it, uske aage piche ka suno. In fact, just yesterday this thing happened. It was about why the western people are moving towards the eastern culture and the eastern people are moving towards the western culture, about skin care tan and ye sab pe baat kar rahe the. So he's saying that people are obsessed with tanning because of so and so reason in US. I'm like, okay, but what we were discussing before was in, and then maybe you can conclude what you have to say. So these things happen, and that is where that fear रहता है कि अच्छा out of context लेने का लोग कैसे लेंगे, लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या, etc. etc. Gina, you told me that you have done your MBA in real estate management. So what is that course about, and why should somebody, and I mean with what purpose should people choose that course, and what should people look forward to studying in that course?
Basically, the reason I did the MBA was because I had a family background in real estate. So that is the reason for me. But generally also, like typically when you say real estate, right, what professionals do like come in your mind? I'm just asking you this question. It's either
Builder, architect, and real estate brokers.
Brokers, engineers for the construction part of it, and lawyers, of course, but not to that extent. Jitna, matlab you require architects and engineers, right? The problem with, again, your mainstream architecture colleges and engineering colleges is, considering civil engineering, because that is focused towards construction, they don't give the market knowledge. right? When you are a fresher out of college, like you're an architect, you passed out, you've done your jury, you presented to the jury your architecture plans, and you've been awarded a degree. When you step out, it's a completely different world out there. You understand that uh, there are draftsmen who typically draw an architectural plan, and as an architect who has gone through 5 years of architecture college, your degree becomes invalid because that draftsman who is just a 12th or a 13th pass
Right.
guy
Yeah.
who has a fair amount of knowledge about AutoCAD is making plans probably better than you. So of course it's not like these colleges don't teach AutoCAD, but when you're out there in the world, you realize that there is a huge gap between what you're being taught and what actually is happening on ground. So
Mm.
this MBA in real estate management focuses exactly on those aspects. So the subjects which we had were extremely practical. In fact, the course is structured in a way wherein we had college for first 4 days of the week. So Monday to Thursday we had college, and Friday and Saturday we used to do on-ground internships. So I was fortunate enough to work with Hookfish, which was a startup in real estate. They are into they are like 99 acres, but it's like a platform for brokers, not for consumers directly. It's like a broker to broker platform.
Mm.
So I got a chance to work with Hookfish. Then I got a chance to work with Credai MCHI. It's a lobby of builders. It's who make their representations to the government. So and then I was working for a small project in Villeparle only. So yeah, I mean that was there. So all these on-ground experiences, along with what you're being taught in college back in NMIMS, so that is what gives you a fair amount of idea. Okay, bhai, okay, boss, I'm learning this, and here I can apply this in certain way. So in terms of teachings, there's sales and marketing about real estate. There is approvals and documentation again about real estate. Everything is specific to real estate only. So as an architect or as a civil engineer or even as a lawyer, it adds up to that gap. It fills that gap which the industry wants from freshly graduated architects, right? So you put in, typically if you would join a real estate firm, right, uh, as an engineer, as a lawyer, or as an architect, you would understand कि भाई ये like to reach to where I am today, it would take at least 3 to 4 years of experience, because that would be the amount of inputs which you would have to give to that your job, and simultaneously your job will probably make you understand कि भाई this works, like the practical world works in certain way. So you cut short that part. You do an MBA, you are graduating from a college, you are being offered a decent placement, and when you are graduating, you are equivalent with a 4-5 year of job experience of the practical world. So that's majorly one of the major reasons why I was pursuing it, because that combination of your classroom learning and your on-ground learning, you combine these both, and you have a lot of experience and learning on your hand.
Something that I did not, I mean, I came across from the first time when I saw a LinkedIn profile, like there is MBA in real estate management. So that's quite
Exactly. It's
interesting.
a fairly
And
new course,
NMS,
apparently. Ours was the fourth batch only. So it's a fairly new
mm-hmm,
course, but they are slowly, steadily growing. Our batch was a batch of 30. What I've heard is the current batch is a batch of 60. So slowly, steadily, they are growing the course also. They've made NMAT compulsory, apparently. At least in my year, it wasn't. But now
mm-hmm,
NMAT is compulsory. So they want to make it at par with the core MBA. So now NMIMS today is offering MBA, core MBA, which is your finance and marketing. They're offering an MBA in HR. They're offering an MBA in data science. They're offering an MBA in law. And the last addition to this was MBA in real estate.
in real estate. Yeah, glad you brought this about MBA in law. So I was looking for options कि law मेरे lawyer बनने के बाद हम क्या कर सकते हैं, and to my surprise कि ये उन लोग ने NMIMS से नया MBA निकाला था, which is MBA in law, and I was like really fascinated है भाई ये क्या course है. I believe
So
अपने college there's something
I
Yeah, you tell.
Richa, I think Richa was pursuing MBA law. Like we graduated together. I met her just last week only when during our convocation.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think from current year also there are a few colleagues of mine, at least in my year, who are currently pursuing the MBA law.
MBA in law.
Like uh, so again, as a fresher out of law school, 3 years out of law school, you have no idea what is happening. Like
Mm.
the practical world, you choose whatever field, right? If you're going into litigation, you are not taught about what goes inside a court. Like a moot court is not enough,
Mm.
right? A moot court is purely like you are drafting arguments based on either parties, and it's not enough to because there so many things goes behind that your typical drafts of arguments.
Mm.
So when you are entering in the world, you realize कि भाई मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं आता है. I literally know nothing, and I have to start from scratch. What I've learned is just going to help me to understand what is happening. But as of
Mm.
today, practically, I have no idea what goes around. To be honest, I did not know what is a wakalatnama, right? I did not know what is a satbara. Satbara is such a basic document which was never mentioned in 3 years of law school.
Correct.
So uh, all these things, what an MBA does is to like it, prepares you for the practical world.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
even in
And I
MBA
was
law, what their course is structured in a really great way. Apparently, their placements are also great. They have Cam and Sam on their board, on their panel also. So they have really great placements. Richa was, I think, placed with ELP. ELP is also one of the great firms out there.
mm, right.
So I think it's more focused towards the commercial law side rather than the litigation side. But
Correct.
any which way, like as a lawyer, you should be open to anything.
Anything. I was coming to that only when okay, I was about to take her name only. Okay, I know someone like someone named Richa Panchal from the senior batch, and she has done this. And even from my batch, there is one girl named Urja Doshi. Yeah, Urja Doshi. She is also
Correct.
into
Yeah.
MBA in law. So I wanted to know more about that course, but then अभी मैं तो अभी पूरा country change कर, so that became like irrelevant for me. Okay, but I do intend to call them sooner or later to at least know okay, how this course is structured and what are the benefits, etc.
Of
So, Gina, you yourself are into this real estate. I mean, it's a family business, and you have studied real estate management. One thing that I've noticed is that despite having you know, a brand value of like thousands of crores, okay, these companies aren't listed. So what is the reason behind the companies like Lodha or anyone that I'm not aware of to be not be listed in the stock market publicly?
Great question, Manan. So how real estate financing works, like it works in a very, very different manner than
Hmm.
your typical any kind of manufacturing based business. Uh, Good thing about this is that slowly, steadily, real estate like firms are getting listed, but of course they're not out there. Loda came up with its IPO just a year and a half back. So and even if you see sector wise, specific to real estate, the only listed players today are the major one is DLF, Oberoi, Mahindra, and
Hmm.
Godrej, and now Loda. So these are the top five players, which typically are at a national level. Real estate, when you say Mumbai, real estate is very different from the entire, like when you consider India as a whole country, uh, real estate works in a very, very different way. Because firstly, the amount of people which are here in Bombay and the amount of housing supply which is required is huge. Like it's huge. Coming back to your question, so typically what happens is when you are analyzing any cash flow of a manufacturing concern, right? There are कि भाई इतना डिमांड होने वाला है एंड उस बेस पे मेरा प्रोडक्शन होगा, उस बेस पे मेरा सेल्स होगा एंड उस बेस से मेरा रियलाइजेशन होगा, एंड देन यू विल डिस्काउंट these aspects to today, the day when you are going on listing.
Correct.
You have a fairly rough figure कि भाई my business is valued today at this price. So I am offering say 30% as an offer for sale or probably a fresh issue, and I'm raising this X amount of money from the public investors, right? Uh, in real estate, that's typically not how things work. Though you can, on a broad level, you can, replicate this model, but there are so many contingencies because it's a highly regulated industry, right? Uh, as a developer, if you want to start a project, if you want to complete it, you will require more than 1200 different NOCs and licenses. 1200 is the figure, right? It is that regulated. And this is, of course, over a period of your project timelines. But, and of course, 1200, more than 1200 NOCs are not from one authority, they are from various authorities. Like if you're practicing in, like if you're developing in Bombay, you have MCGM, your BMC. Then at a national level, you have your Airport Authority of India for the height restrictions. You have the you have your environmental ministry. You have your defense. You have your military. There are various authorities you have to deal with to get these things in place. Now, if at all, out of all these 1200, you are stuck because of a few, right? Your project timeline is going to go bonkers. And the worst part about real estate is, at least in an under construction project, your cash flows are typically associated with your construction. So for example, if I'm building a 10-story building, right? So today I will consider my sale of my property. Like if I'm selling at whatever X rate, say for example, I sold the flat for 100 rupees. Okay. Like I'll book my revenue for 100, of course, not in my books, but in general sense that my inventory worth rupees 100 is sold. But am I receiving full amount of 100 rupees? No. Today I'm receiving only 10 rupees because the building is under construction. Now, as and when I'll build up first floor, second floor, third floor, based on that, those checkpoints, which are again agreed upon by both the parties, it's typically drafted in your agreement for sale. I will be receiving 10 rupees at various checkpoints. And at the time of OC, I will receive the full and final amount.
Correct.
So now it is very difficult from a finance point of view to discount these cash flows, right? To arrive at a certain value, okay, boss, today my business is worth X amount of crores. Because there are so many uncertainties, tomorrow if something happens, your project timeline is going to go for a toss for another 12 months. And that 12 months ka discounting is like, if you're valuing your business at 1,000 crore today, a typical delay of 12 months could, it could reduce your value by 10-20%, which is huge. So that is the major reason, one of the major reasons. Secondly, if you see, right, all these businesses are run by families. Like, for example, Loda, it's a surname. I'm working at Runwal. So again, Runwal Group, it's a family-run business. Though they've corporatized it to a very great extent, but like mainstreamly, they are family-run businesses. And you would not typically want to offer equity outside your family. That has been the mentality of all real estate players. That's again one of the major reasons why mainstream real estate companies have not been coming out with IPOs.
What to say something? Okay. I was coming to the, just an extension to this. It makes sense कि family वाले लोग ही इसमें कर रहे हैं because the infrastructures are already existing about everything. Like if I had to enter as a random guy to into this construction business, भाई मेरे को सिर्फ infrastructure बनाने में ही काफी साल लग जाएंगे. And that will be like पूरा cash जा रहा है बाहर, कुछ अंदर आ नहीं रहा है, ऐसा सब सीन हो जाएगा. तो that is also one reason कि जो अभी काफी सालों से फैमिली वाला बिजनेस चल रहा है वही अगर चल रहा है तो ठीक है. मतलब ट्रस्ट भी है उतना लोगों पे. ऑब्वियसली ये सब कंपनीज पे इतना ट्रस्ट है इसलिए तो लोग अभी भी the structure is existing, otherwise it wouldn't.
And when you say builders and developers, right, कि भाई मतलब trust की बात तो है, but कि back of your mind कि there is a blacklist on them. कि you have to be very careful while dealing with a builder or a developer, right? That has been the perception of the industry overall. And of course, RERA came into the picture, right? It has streamlined like a lot, because it brought in transparency. Now, if you go to the RERA portal, right, you have all projects which are under construction, which are listed today. You will get everything about the developer, who is the authorized signatory, who is going to sign your document. So you will get to know about who you are dealing with rather than just the name of the company. Because if you're going to buy a home today, you don't know who is that person who's going to build that, right? So you have a list of architects, you have a list of engineers, you have a list of brokers who are dealing with that particular project, and everything is certified, right? So RERA was a beautiful mechanism which was introduced. Again, as a lawyer, it opened up a lot of practices for multiple lawyers specific to real estate. Secondly, IBC came into the picture, your Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which declared, so there was a judgment wherein the home buyers were declared as financial creditors. So what that did was, as a home buyer, say for example, you paid say 5 crores to a developer, right? And he's not been able to deliver the project. Now, of course, there are caveats to it, but if as a home buyer, you are secured as a financial creditor, right? And in the waterfall mechanism, your financial creditors will be above your operational creditors. So if that company is going under liquidation tomorrow, the courts will make sure that the home buyers' interests are protected. So it's being regulated and being streamlined since 2016 after RERA has come into the picture. But of course, it's going to take a lot of time for market also to accept that this industry is changing and it's not the way it was. And professionals like us are probably the ones who are going to be at the helm of this change.
Another question. This is the last question that I wanted to know is, you have also done your masters in environmental law,
Right.
right? So uska implication, how much does it help in what you're doing right now? Okay, environment, how important has that become for the developers these days?
So of course, like your environmental laws is something which is very related to the industry overall, because uh, because of a lot of reasons. So being environmentally conscious as a developer and sustainable real estate is something which I would want to see in the upcoming years. That was a major reason for me also to opt for environmental law, because to be fair enough, real estate is one of the most polluting industries, right? We are the first, like there are 150 industries which are dependent on real estate today. uh, Cement in itself, right, it's one of the most polluting substance, right? To manufacture cement, the amount of CO2 which is disposed, it's huge. And um, getting a building, like without cement you cannot build a building, right?
Correct.
So how you can set off your carbon footprint and make sustainable buildings, introduce green elements in your buildings, uh, to reduce the overall carbon footprint of one particular project. So that's how environmental law helps me to connect it with real estate. And I have been very like I have been very environmentally conscious. So I do not use single use plastics. I carry a ceramic mug with me all the time. I carry a metal straw. So that is something which it's just on a personal level I have been conscious about. So one of the major reasons why I chose environmental law was because of this, and it has helped me overall also. Like my final thesis, my dissertation was for the coastal road project. Again, so because it's infrastructure, somehow it's going to boost the real estate economy overall also. So there were multiple judgments for the coastal road project as well, because they were typically they were demolishing the Koli community, which was typically around your Marine Drive area. They were
Hmm.
thriving off fishing, and since the coastal road project would have come in, that entire community would have been marginalized to a certain extent. And there was a stop work notice from the Bombay High Court, which was challenged in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court again gave a go ahead. So, of course, there were a lot of legal barriers to that project. But what my dissertation, what I had concluded was, of course, was there are cons to it, but the amount of pros which are over a longer period of time, which is going to reduce your travel time, firstly, again leading to lesser consumption of fuels, leading to lesser consumption of your batteries also if you're considering EVs. So over a longer period of time, of course, the benefits would set off your cons today. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's how it's been. Like
Yeah.
that was my final year dissertation topic, and it was submitted.
Hmm. ये वाला है, I mean, people have started to become like environmentally conscious, and there is something that I read recently before I talk to you. Okay, by 2050, Mumbai has set a target to reduce their carbon footprint to a great extent.
Yeah, I mean, it's high time that so our generation, right, in school, we were, I think, probably the first initial batch wherein environmental education was being taught, right? The generation above us, like our parents, never were
हाँ,
taught
उनको
about.
EVS नहीं था.
नहीं था, like EVS EE was not a part of their syllabus. So it's a very good thing from the education point of view also, that from a very young age you are actually making people understand about environment and how to protect it. And sustainable concepts, like your reuse, reduce, recycle, your typical your how your lifestyle should be. If you yourself can your ethics don't at least, like, your ethics should be environmentally sustainable. So it's just one straw, said 7 billion people. That's a very famous saying, right? So if that one straw, I'm not sure whether have you seen that video wherein it's a very viral video from a sea turtle. They are pulling a straw out of their
Ah,
nose.
yes, sir. I've seen that. Yeah.
It's horrific. I was not able to watch the entire video, and it's been taking rounds since a very long time over the internet, right?
Hmm.
If that one straw could do that to a small turtle, like, imagine the amount of plastics which we are just dumping into the oceans.
Makes sense, man. I mean, obviously, like it is the way forward now because be it any country or all around the world, it is something that people have set their minds on. Ki nahi bhai, there is a serious problem about this, and we should be dealing with it. And yeah, I mean, hopefully by that time that we'll have the completely sustainable infrastructures ready about in every niches. So
Hopefully.
with that, Gina, it was a great conversation, steady yet informative, and I got to learn a lot of things. And it has happened it has only happened in the past few episodes that I have come to realize such a these things are happening, and I've got to learn a lot. And thank you for coming, and thank you for doing this.
Glad to be here, man, and it was fun talking to you also. I also got to learn a lot of things. uh, thanks for having me, man.